And by soon, I mean directly after recording the last one. Hey everybody, it's Adler and welcome back to Analogue. I hate, so right then I'm leaving her in this because it's cute. As we left off, I'm a hero after, well, not being a hero, technically speaking, if I'm going to be honest. But, it's not right, what have I talk to you? So, what can I do for you? Oh, okay, well. Right, so what else we got now then? All we have are Mute's questions. Okay. How do you feel about me? I feel badass in these now, but this is the only new stuff left, so... What is this? You talk to Mute? Yeah. She's gone now, though, if it makes you feel any better. I had to turn her off. I mean, like, not just disable, I had to shut off her storage core. She'll be dead in about a day. I didn't hate Mute, that's the thing. She was a cool character. She was likable enough. I didn't agree with a lot of her worldview shit, but I liked her for what, what it was worth. She was interesting. I think I preferred Hyun-ae as a character overall. I think I connected with her more, at least from what, attached to the character and all, but I don't know what she told you, but you really shouldn't listen to her. All she ever did was gossip, and I'm certain she hasn't changed a bit since back then. No, she hasn't. Please don't trust her. She just spins everything to make everyone look bad, no matter what. That's not entirely true. Again, this is a bit of that unreliable narration thing I mentioned last time. Mute, went out of her way to defend people. Sometimes it was her obligations, but sometimes it was because of how she felt about them, because she liked them as people. So no, that's not entirely accurate, but again, this makes the characters more realistic, and I appreciate that. Please promise. But she's dead now, so fine. Thank you, I really appreciate that. At least you gave me a fair chance. Well, if you show me one of her questions, I'll tell you the truth, but I don't think it's what you'll expect. At least you're, agreeing to see more of the questions. Wait, what happens if because you're not great out here? Well, to be honest, nervous. I'm really, really nervous. It's just you're the first person I've talked to in so long. I'm really happy about that. But, well, I'm exposing a lot. I know you promised to trust me and all, so thanks. It's just, this is all really new to me. But it's good. I'm glad. I wouldn't be so nervous if I wasn't happy you were there to listen. Aww. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. How do you feel about me? Wow, that's a tough question. Yeah, I know it's kind of a loaded gun, isn't it? I'm sorry. I mean, you seem like a really good person. Ooh, no, what was that? I missed that. Hyun-ae, not being completely honest, you're hiding something. I think I could call you a friend. You seem to be a really good listener. I like that. Does that answer your question? I don't want to push her, so yes. I don't want to be a dick and be like, no, you're hiding something. I mean, I don't want to push her, that's kind of mean. I thought I really understand why Mute was asking. I'm pretty sure she's trying to lead up to something. Why don't you treat me with respect? Oh, that's a fucked up question. What? Jeez, my word, what are you talking about? When have I ever not treated you with respect? I don't know what's wrong with that awful AI, and I definitely don't know what's wrong with you. Why would you even say something like that? Jeez. Okay, I probably shouldn't have asked. God fucking... Look, I'm just going to the questions. You really can't... Damn it. I was hoping she'd realize that I was just clicking on whatever the fuck Mute put here. Ugh. Damn it. What do you really look like? Oh boy. Well, I bet a few thousand lines of assembly code and maybe a few gigabytes of memories, I suppose. Sitting on a hard drive somewhere. I don't really know what that looks like. Oh, I guess you actually meant before I died, didn't you? Well, I was 13 years old when I woke up, and 16... She only... So, I looked younger, but I wasn't really all that different, just shorter, and I guess, smaller in other places too. Everyone always did say it was pretty though, even when I was really young. So just, I guess, picture a shorter version of me without the glasses, with my hair in some dumb braid or another on a hanbok, and that's pretty much it. I mean, I never really got to dress up the way I wanted to. Even this is the first time I've been able to wear my school uniform when I was 13, before I got put in stasis. How silly is that, being excited about wearing a uniform? And I mean, you know how much I was into cosplay. I never really had a chance for that when I was alive. So being able to dress up in something as totally known as a suit, I actually think that's really exciting. Why even ask? What are you thinking? Really good. Ah, well, thank you. And we should go back to the more serious stuff, don't you think? Oh, what am I thinking? Of course, I'm such an idiot. It's not just that there's... Oh! It's not just the questions. She'll probably have response and some of the other... That's right, she had to go through the articles unlocked by Mute. And she'd have her own thoughts on some of them and open up new files. Right. I forgot this game worked for like 5 seconds. What are the rest of the questions, though? How old are you? Yeah, but you're dead. Is that the one question you're never supposed to ask a woman? Jeez, so rude. Well, I was born in the year 2415 when, and then was put into stasis for I don't know how long. Then lived for another 3 years and died about 622 years ago at the age of 16. Fuck, that's... Jesus Christ. Put in a stasis in the hope that she could be cured when she got out of it. Came out of it into a backward society who basically oppressed her. Oh my god. So, you tell me how old I am. I don't know. But I don't think it all matters at this point, does it? Honestly, not really. You're a computer program. How do you feel about Mute? Okay, yes. Although I can probably guess the answer. Of course that'd be one of her questions. I don't know, live it this way, I suppose. Did she have anything nice to say about me? About you? I don't remember entirely. I mean, for the most part, no. She kind of despised you. I believe there was like 1 or 2 moments where she tried to empathize, but I don't remember those ever really going very far. It was just sort of like she was trying in certain spaces, but she'd already had her mind made up, so not really. I'm gonna go with that. That's what I thought. Really, I don't know much about her other than what I've read in other people's logs. She never talked to me either. Or was that ever? I mean, she wasn't above talking about me, but no, never anything to me. That's all I know about her. She's a gossip. I don't even want to speak to her now. Well, now you don't have to. I turned her off. Ugh. No. Okay, that's interesting question, actually. After waking up from stasis, I only ever had one single friend. Oh, 2, I meant, now that you're here. Oh. Anyways, before it was just her. The Queen. Ah, okay, so you did eventually kind of get along with her. The Queen, my husband's wife, Ryu Jaihua. I wrote about her a lot in my diary. I'll just show you. It's probably better if you read it for yourself. These are from right after I got married. Forcibly married at the age of 15 to some older dude. And then died when she was 16. Oh my god, that's depressing. Why did you Oh no. I don't know if I want... Okay. See... No. Mm-mm. Not right now. I just... Especially not that last one. Okay. We do have some new articles though from her. Okay, just as wives. Dear Diary, I guess it's been forever since I cared enough to write anything down. I just haven't seen much point. Since my last entry, I got married, moved into the place, and lost my virginity. Oh, fuck. Yeah, that's... Knew that was coming, but it's still kind of offsetting to think about. 15 years old, Married as a fucking concubine to some older dude, and then, yeah. Apparently for a girl my age, none of these things are really all that weird. The queen finally insisted on talking to me the night after I first slept with dearest husband. I'd been expecting it. My sister warned me that she would probably be jealous, and I just had to endure it. She outranks me, and I would simply have to kowtow to her if need be. I haven't had to yet, though. We had tea together, and she, well, at least has started by acting friendly. I'm sure sister was right. I'll get the brunt of her anger soon enough, but today she was friendly. How are you holding up? She asked me after we finished with tea. I shrugged. Do trust me, I know how hard it can be for a newlywed. I've been through it myself, but I was at least older. You probably miss your family, do you not? That's what I would be. That's what would be expected from any good girl. So I nodded. It gets easier with time. I had no response. I'm sorry. Am I bothering you? You can leave if you wish. I simply thought you might like some company. I wasn't sure to respond to that either. I just clasped my hands and shook my head. I just wanted to be sure, she said. There was a long pause that followed. Finally, she asked, how was last night? It surprised me that she was willing to bring up the subject, figuring that was a segue into her being vindictive towards me for sleeping with her husband. I shrugged as she continued. I just know he can be rough. Nobody ever talked about those duties with me. Then she smiled, and I felt almost like I could drop my guard. I had no idea what to expect my first time. Do believe me, I'm not jealous. That is nothing to be jealous of. But do tell me how it was. It made me think back on last night. Honestly, it was the best night I've ever had since waking up in the future. Everyone, my mother, my sister, now my queen, warned me that it would be bad. It would be a duty, nothing more, but I honestly did love it. I would have let him keep me up all night if he had the energy for it. I guess while I was thinking about all that, I let out a slight smile. I caught myself then, but not before she noticed. Oh, did you enjoy it then? She asked, touching my arm. I jumped. Please be at ease. That is perfectly alright, too. So long as you know it's just for him, there's absolutely no shame in that. There is none. I expected her to jump into something passive-aggressive from that, but she didn't. All she did was change the subject and said that she was really worried about me. Maybe she isn't so bad. Huh. So, as you can see, she was kind. She was good to me. She really was. I take it you want to know more about my marriage then? What are you interested in? Honestly, I don't know much about the husband, but she interests me from what I've seen of her communiques. And, of course, her dealings with Hyun-ae. Then you're in luck. She's in all these entries. She was really the only thing in my life worth writing about for the most part. There's one in there that she wrote herself about our husband, and you can see for yourself. She's a lot stronger than I ever was. So you can see for yourself why I admired her. And, just read them, alright? Okay, so what else is opened up? Okay, all these. Okay, so just... Why did she have to die? Oh, no. Little sister, illiterate mutinous, arguing the emperor. Oh, boy. Nothing and nothing. Okay. Attending to my husband has been easier than I was afraid it would be. Yes, there's days when it requires more strength than usual to keep going. I'm still getting increasingly more sick. Nothing will change that. But it's not so bad, really. All I have to do is dote on him and try to anticipate his desires, and he's happy with me. No abuse or anything. Well, that's good. Sure, it's not as if I like him. He's an ugly 40-year-old man who cares only about politics and never tells me anything. Love, well, that's certainly no concern. I don't know where I ever got the impression that was something that could happen in a marriage. I thought it was something from the past, but, well, when I was young before I got put into stasis. It must have been a mistake of childhood. Well, it's more like the situation you're in as opposed to the reality of, your reality, I suppose, is more unfortunate than it had to have been, than it should have been. But so long as I do as I'm told, I'm not mistreated like I was by my sister. And sleeping with him feels good. I really hope I don't get pregnant soon. I don't want that to stop. Doing that is really the only thing that makes me actually happy these days. Well, that and Jaihua's talks. She's nice. She keeps me company when I stay up to wait for his return. She fetches servants to take me to bed on Those days I'm too feverish to sit for too long, and she just talks to me as if I'm a friend. I don't really understand why, but I guess she really doesn't hate me after all. Do let me tell you, she said one evening while she brushed my hair, I always wanted a little sister growing up. That's how I think of you. Does that make sense? I shrugged. It was nice of her, and it felt so relaxing to let her touch my hair like that. She wasn't waiting for a response anyway. By now, she knows better. She just keeps talking kindly to me. Oh, that's... Illiterate. Oh, okay, now that's something to say. The more she lives in my house, the more I'm confused by the mystery that is the pale bride. No wonder why my husband has been favoring the Kim family lately. Their daughter seems to be the perfect woman. She's not simply a pale beauty. She's always too shy to speak at all, let alone argue. Seems to hang off his every word, and it turns out, is usually so completely humble in her education that she cannot even read. Oh, that's right, yeah. Or that she cannot read normal characters. I have observed her writing to herself, and perhaps what may be a diary. When I asked her what it was, she wouldn't say, but was quick to hide it. I cannot recognize a single character on her screen, however. They seem simplified compared to her regular writing. Perhaps she's invented a writing system just for herself? It's very strange. Isn't that because, like, if I remember correctly, she knows a language you've kind of forgotten? Or was that it? It's been a while since I've read a lot of the older quote-unquote entries. The ones that were unlocked earlier in the game, so I believe it was something along those lines, though. Did you ever receive those letters I sent to your house before you arrived? I asked her, curious. Seemingly she had. Did you read them? Her response was worried, as if she was scared that I would be angry to find out that she hadn't. I was not, of course. I'm sorry, I had assumed. Are you able to read? That was when I found out that she wasn't. I offered to read them to her, to which she seemed quite enthusiastic. I think I'm likely to leave out some parts, however. I had enough difficulty bringing myself to writing the more embarrassing parts of the family history. Bringing myself to talk about them, even if I know she would never say anything, is just far too much. Like all things with her, I cannot tell her whether her enthusiasm is sincere or an effort to make me happy. This troubles me. Of course I wasn't illiterate. I could read just fine, just not their stupid Chinese-based characters, yeah. I mean, I can understand them now. Everything except for my diary entries is translated from them. It's just such a dumb way of writing, though. It makes everything come out so stilted compared to proper Korean. Well, anyway, you're showing me that because you're interested in her admonitions, right? I guess so, but they're already unlocked, aren't they? Then here, I'll just give you the letters she sent. They're all they give all the details, even the ones she was too embarrassed to tell me about at the time. You can probably guess which part she cut out. Yeah, like the part about her being the Emperor's, like, sister. It's pretty obvious. Yeah, the incest thing that she's never told me at the time. Yeah. I've forgot about it now. I don't really blame her. And, well, here, you can see what I mean for yourself. Unless she unlocked anything new, but that shit is all the stuff I've already seen. Why am I backing out? Why? Mutinous. I've been thinking a lot about how close my death must be now. Oh, that's gotta... Lately, I've been getting prone to fainting spells. It probably goes right along with my diminishing appetite. If the doctor from the past was right, I've still got over a year left to live, maybe more. He said it wasn't very likely to get bad enough to kill me until I was at least 18. Oh, okay. Although maybe all those years in stasis might have changed that, I don't know. But if he was right, and if I haven't lost track of time, I'm 16 and a half right now. So there's still a while. I've been trying to hide the signs of sickness. Even if I could explain, I know full well that nobody would believe me. So far, hiding it has been mostly working, although I did have one of my fainting spells when my husband was on top of me. He wasn't angry at me, though. I don't think he cared. Yeah. I wonder if he just didn't care at all, if he was like, oh, look how amazing I am at sexing. I know all I read of these days is sex with my husband and conversation with his wife. The Kim family would be proud, I guess, but those two things are all that's really worthwhile in my life. I have other responsibilities, of course, they're just not that interesting, and that's about it. really fucking depressing. Anyway, the queen has continued to be nice to me. She finally figured it out. We were having tea together one afternoon. She was talking about nothing in particular, and she asked me some questions that I just shrugged to. I hope you do not take this the wrong way, she then said, but there is something I would like to ask you. I nodded. I don't think I've ever heard you speak, heard your voice before. I nodded again. Why don't you ever speak to me? Are you just saving that for the Emperor? I didn't know how to respond. She was so close to getting it, to bring up the subject I wasn't able to. Yet that wasn't the right question. So I shook my head and hoped that her next question would be, and hoped that her next question would be, I went wrong way. And hoped that her next question would be, there we go. Bit of a lag between when I can scroll. I can scroll and not think, wait a second. It was. Then, Hyun-ae, she said uncertainly, are you mute? I felt like screaming yes at the top of my lungs. I was so happy that she'd finally figured it out. I smiled and was about to nod enthusiastically, but suddenly stopped. What if she thought less of me if I said yes? If she knew the reason I was so quiet and demure wasn't because of any sort of discipline? Those are the things that people liked about me. Would she stop liking me if she knew? What if she told my husband? I was so terrified, I couldn't think of any correct answer. If I said no, I'm sure she would have asked to hear what my voice sounded like, and I'd be forced to disobey. And if I nodded, then she'd know. If I nodded, then she'd know I wasn't really just trying hard to be a good wife. And I'm sure she would talk to my husband about it, so he'd know too. But while I stared at her in terror, thinking of how to respond, she sighed and sipped her tea. Don't worry about it, she said. You don't have to answer, please. Do forget that I even asked. Huh. Okay, then. You know, nobody ever noticed that until her. Nobody cared. Nobody ever thought any of it, or cared about me to find out. But she did care. She actually paid attention. She was great. Aww. My concern over the pale bride's condition has grown. Lately, she has seemed to grow even quieter if such a thing is possible for a mute girl. Well, perhaps saying she is mute is an assumption too far on my part. I tried asking her directly, but she seemed too scared to answer. That simply makes me more suspicious, and I should like to know why. I addressed my husband on the matter, telling him that I wished to speak to the woman of the Kim family house, to see if I could find out what is wrong. He shrugged me off, saying, don't. They're valuable subjects. The son is someone I have my eye on in particular. The politics of the situation are far too delicate for you to be meddling with. I cleared my throat. He might be both my husband and emperor, but I would not let that stop me from being bold. My dear husband, I don't care, I said flatly. I am worried about the girl, and I believe that talking to her mother might shed some light on the matter. The son is of no concern to me. I don't see why it matters. She's a perfect woman. Why, are you jealous? He said, rolling his eyes at me, a gesture that he's only been able to use on me and his servants ever since becoming the emperor. Nobody had the patience for it when he was a child, and I don't have it now either. Hyun-ae, dearest, do you believe that the well-being of your wife is a political matter, or even an external matter? I asked. He didn't. So why would you say that it's a domestic matter? I asked. He reluctantly agreed. Oh, so would you say it's a domestic matter? Oh. Then as a domestic matter, it is the responsibility of the woman of the house, is it not? Please, tell me. You are obviously more well-read in the classics than I said, both of us knowing he wasn't. Fine, he said, but just because it's your responsibility does not mean I can't overrule you. He left silent to follow up. I don't have to take this from you. You do know that my concerns are valid, though, I replied. If you value my opinion, you will let me speak to the Kim mother. There was a pause, and he raised his hand in annoyance. Very well, do it. It's women's business. I don't want a part of it. I don't want a part in it regardless. They just shook his head. Why must all our conversations be arguments? I smiled at him and left. He already knows the answer. I think he's a cockbag. So I never knew about that when we were alive. Like most things, I only found out after I took over the ship's computer. It just amazes me even more. Look at her. She's a woman who actually stood up to a man and won. She wasn't clumsy like I was. She knew how to work it from her position. Isn't that so amazing? It's one of the ways you have to adapt to the society you're living in. Okay. You always forget how terrible it is to cry yourself to sleep until it happens. It's just the ultimate feeling of helplessness, but what's new there, right? I just miss her. Even if she scared me, I miss her so damn much. Sci-Fi was the only one who was sympathetic to me. Why did she have to die? Is that my fate? Anything that makes whatever short life I have left bearable must go? Fate just hates me, I've decided. I don't know what killed her. I overheard one of the servants saying that the doctor claimed it was too much worry, causing an excess of wood in the spleen, which he claimed to be common in oversensitive women. I was baffled by the absurdity at the time. I still am now. My friend is dead and her diagnosis is absolutely insane. What even say to something like that? Well, I guess it's not like I need to worry about knowing what to say. But in light of that, it doesn't surprise me that nobody ever believed I was sick. With medicine that stupid, why would they? All it does is reinforce how hopeless everything is. I just constantly wonder, why did my father or my doctor think the people that would be smart in the future, that medicine would be better? Because they'd assume that things would continue to progress instead of regress. My servant has been helping me get through all the funeral stuff. Well, I mean, she's been guiding me through the rites. Practically doing them for me, really. I'm so weak and so stunned, I don't even know how I've been getting out of bed. I couldn't describe any of the ceremony, it's all a blur. There's been lots of black dress, I suppose, that's my only impression. And crying. Lots of crying. From me. Look, please, do you trust me? I'll try. No would be the wrong answer. Just in general, incorrect as well as not what you want to go with. Please understand my position at the time. My world was so small and I just lost my only friend. And then I'll give you my last 2 diary entries. They have the whole story. Just, please don't judge them while you read me. While you read them, please. Oh no. What happened? Back to hell and I'll kill the... Okay. Here we go. 7 pages. Shit. This sounds so pathetic to say. I've tried rewriting this a million times just to make it sound less pathetic for me that I simply cannot. There were 2 things that made life worthwhile. 2 things that made this last year before I die be bearable. The first was Jaihwa's company, being the one person that was friendly to me. The second is sharing a bed with my husband. For the past few months, that's what I've been saving all my energy for. That brief, precious half hour every few nights where I feel fulfilled. If only in the most literal sense. It's the most lovely feeling. And now I'll never feel it again. The 2 things making my last year of life worth living gone forever. The past few nights I've been trying to get the Emperor's attention in that way, pleading silently for his affections. With no luck. On the 4th, or was it the 5th day, he finally took me aside and said, painful annoyance in his voice, "Enough! Stop that, it's completely inappropriate. You're supposed to be in mourning, show some damn chastity, or do you have no respect for my wife and your queen at all," he snapped. When I looked confused, he just lectured me. When I cried, he sighed, held me tightly, then left the room. I haven't spoken to him since. But later that day, my servant came to my room with good news. I was to go visit my family for a couple months while the house was in mourning for Jaihwa. I couldn't argue, of course, even if I was able. So just like that, I was sent back to hell. I was dressed in the usual veil so nobody would see my face, as I was escorted back to the Kim house in the middle of the night. Mother and father were there briefly to greet me, and in spite of how I felt about them, I put on my bravest smile and bowed, and nodded politely to their questions about how I was doing. Then they had to go to bed and left, leaving me alone with my sister. Young Sok was nowhere to be seen. "Hi," she said. "I never thought you'd end up visiting us again so soon." I shrugged. "Well, let's have some tea. It's just us still around," she said. I nodded. It seemed like a good enough idea. There was a pause. "Well, go make it," she snapped, removing any doubt that she might treat me with any sort of friendliness. Yeah. Of course I made the tea. I don't disobey her anymore. "Thanks," she said. "So young Sok is out, attending to official business at the moment. But you should avoid him. He's still angry at you because father-in-law finds you more important to the family than his own son. Can you believe him?" I had no idea what she was talking about, and she just continued. "So you really shouldn't talk to him." "Oh, I guess you can't redo that, can you?" "Well, you know what I mean." Yes, I knew exactly what she meant, that she was a douche. I'm surprised you're back so soon, though, especially now that you don't have to share your husband. Does that mean you're the primary wife now? I didn't know. Does that make you queen? Oh, what great fortune you have. Father-in-law must be so proud of you. I stared at her, wishing nothing more than to be able to kill her through sheer force of rage. How could she possibly say something so awful? My only friend was dead, and here she was, taunting me. What an awful thing to do. But I couldn't hate her to death, no matter how much I tried. So instead, I tried holding back angry tears to hide my weakness. I couldn't do that either. Just please keep reading. That's not a good sign. I was far too feverish to do any real cooking, so my servant was doing all the work for me that night when Father came in. I thought he was drunk, or maybe just tired, or stupid. You know, child, he said to me, you grew up to be a wonderful daughter. I was shocked to hear him say that and waved my servant out of the kitchen. I never heard even the slightest indication of that before. For the briefest moment, it even made me happy to hear that. That surprised me that I actually felt that way. As a kid, I never would have wanted his approval, so why now? He continued to make me wonder when he asked, do you remember what you were like as a child? I nodded, but I wasn't certain I did. You were so temperamental. You argued all the time. You didn't want to get married when the time came. You just didn't ever know your place, you know? Place, quote unquote. That's right. I didn't. That was back when I thought there was a point to being defiant. Why was that, I wondered? That's the part that amazes me now. I tried to think of a reason why I might want to be defiant, why I valued independence, and at first I couldn't even think of anything. I'd forgotten. I had forgotten entirely. Don't tell young Saul, but it really scared me. You're always the family's best hope for prosperity, but that attitude of yours, I thought I'd never manage to disavow those crazy, uncivilized ideas of yours, he said, while I tried to think of what they were. There were times I thought it was a mistake to have hatched you. You came through, you really did. I know it must have been painful, but I'm proud of you. Then he patted me on the head. You turned out to be a good girl. Well, you're a twisted little piece of shit, aren't you? That's all I wanted to say. It was hard raising you to be a proper woman, but you turned out to be perfect. Thank you. Thank you for being the perfect object that I could use to my own advantage. You heartless fuck. I stared, speechless. And I tried to remember, what crazy uncivilized ideas was he talking about? Just the notions that people are equal and all that. Thinking back to those days, or back to before I was frozen, I tried to remember. I had dreams of what adulthood would be like, but they were so unimaginably different from what the reality turned out to be, they seemed impossible. Completely impossible. Nothing more than childhood fantasies without a shred of realism to them. I tried to think of what they were, to imagine them. In those dreams, I was strong, independent. I wasn't just a wife in those dreams, I had a job. Working as a ship's engineer, following in the footsteps of my father, my real father. I wasn't married in those dreams. I was happy just to go on dates with boys my age in the ship's plaza and fall in love before making any commitments. I dreamed of being free. And the more I thought about it, the more I was certain that's what those dreams were about. That's what I'd wanted, but Father, Kim Jung-soo rather, had made sure to disavow me of those notions. I learned to stop arguing, to stop trying to fight, to stop dreaming of those things. In other words, I learned how to be a proper woman. And he was proud of that. Proud of destroying my dreams, and now I would die under the house of that man, silenced, broken, hopeless, and unloved. I was overwhelmed with the strongest feeling that I ever felt in my life, the deepest bitterness, the most powerful resentment I could imagine. I looked at the knife near my hand and wondered, could I kill him? Before I died, could I at least have justice? I tried to lift the knife. My hand twitched and it was too hard to keep a grip. I was just too weak, I'd never be able to do it. He smiled at me and said, sorry, please, go ahead and keep cooking. I won't distract you more. Then, just as he was about to go out the door, he said, take care of yourself. At that moment, I vowed that I would. I wouldn't worry about any more about all those people who'd hurt me. I'd take care of myself. I couldn't stab him to death. I was too weak for that. But then I remembered. There were other ways. If I disabled life support, I can kill him. And all the others too. It'll be quick, it'll be easy, and not a one of them don't deserve it. All I need to disable it is the admin password. It's perfect. Yeah, she snapped. Ugh. Well, so there you are then. Now you know it's true. I did do what you said I did. I'm not going to lie. I really wish you'd never met her. I wish you'd never said anything to you. I just thought it was so nice the way things were with us before. Things started out so well. I got to be Chewie for the first time in my life since I was a child. Talking about actual romantic things together. Having fun with cosplay. And just, you know, having someone there to talk to. Someone who wasn't interested in shutting me up. But now, well, please, you've read my diary. You have to know it's not. You have to understand, right? Even if you think what it was wrong, look, I've never really been dishonest with you. Fine, I lied about being an AI, but I told you the truth. I could have deceived you, but I didn't. Please. You still trust me, right? I never really lied to you, not seriously. You don't have to think what I did was acceptable, but please, tell me you trust me. Trust as opposed to have trust in. It's just such a fucked up situation. I mean, no, well, okay. Her lot in life was awful. Terminal illness, put into stasis in the hopes of being revived at a point in the future when technology and science had advanced to the point where they might be able to actually cure her and let her live a full, productive life. Only to get smashed out of that by some jerk who wanted to use her and did eventually use her as a tool for his own personal gain and crushing her, you know, as much of her individuality as he could to mash her into what their backward society saw as being prim and proper. Was killing everyone the right thing to do? No. But, like I said, it looks like she just kind of lost it. That's not really an excuse. That's not really... It's definitely not justification, but... I suppose, all in all, she didn't really lie to me, necessarily. She hid some things. But like I said, trust you as opposed to having trust in you, I guess. You do? Really? Oh my word. I mean, of course, I'm so sorry. I should have had faith in you. I really should have. I'm really bad at this. But thank you. Thank you so much. I can't believe I even doubted you for a second. Look, that means a lot to me. It means so much. I mean, I'm sure what I did wasn't right, I know. I'm sure you don't think it was. I just want you to understand, alright? For someone as good to me as you've been, I want you to at least please understand. You don't have to forgive me, just hear me out. That's what I've been doing so far, why would I stop now? Thank you so much. You're a really good person. Much better than me. Thank you. Then, very well, it's probably just better if I show you. There's a data block that contains all the logs that matter, but my family encrypted it because, well, it should be obvious why after you read it. You need to drop the terminal and type decrypt block 7. Let me know once you've done that and I'll show you. It's not grayed out. Oh, well, let me guess though. Yeah, it's just gonna, okay, decrypt, yeah, just a reminder. Decrypt block 7, right. Okay. Very well. These are really hard for me to read. I haven't seen mine since I wrote them, and I haven't seen my family as well, ever. Well, I think I've found here. I've added some. Just please read them. If you want to know the whole story, those entries will explain. The music's gone too. Nightmarish bride, mother, new anxiety, peace at last. It seems that in the year I spent visiting my parents, everything has gone to hell in my husband's family without his knowing. Clearly I never should have left. He has an idea, but he doesn't understand just how bad things have gotten. When I left, it all seemed under control. The pale bride would be of the right age to be married to the emperor soon enough, and we would be able to use that connection to bring favor to the family. A good plan, except it turns out the pale bride is not even close to ready for marriage. Age has nothing to do with it. It's the maturity that she lacks. When she first awoke, right before I left, she seemed a little confused, but that was hardly unexpected. She had a whole new family to get accustomed to, and it seemed obvious enough that anyone born so far in the past would have some difficulty adjusting to modern life. In context, what the reality was, she was having trouble adjusting to a society that had dropped quite a bit further back. There is something simply wrong with that child. But this is far beyond that. There's something wrong with that child. When I first got back, the first thing Young Suk's wife did was tell me all about how sorry she was for not being able to control the child. I rolled my eyes as if a grown woman couldn't handle someone of her age. How are you going to raise my grandson like that? I asked. She was quiet and let me see the pale bride for myself. The first time I saw Young Suk try to get her to do something as simple as sort as laundry, she wasn't just disobedient, she was openly defiant. When I stepped in to admonish her, it had absolutely no effect. All she was argue back at me. I tried to every approach I could think of, appealing to filiality, explaining how important a virtue obedience was, even trying to appeal to sentimentality, everything. She just kept saying the same thing, that it wasn't fair to make her do it. Here's the obvious concern, and it's what I said to her. Are you going to tell me, your husband, that he's not being fair when he wants something from you? I thought that would put some sense into her, but no, she just answered yes. There's no way this unruly child could possibly be marriageable, not like this. She'd be sent back within a day, and with good reason. What man could possibly want a nightmare like her in his life? Yeah, what man would possibly want a human being that they'd have to deal with and actually come to terms with and interact with on an intersocial level, as opposed to just an obedient, never mind. You get the point. Ignorance pisses me off. Ugh. Mother, huh? I don't really know what to say about her, even now. This is the first time I've read what she wrote, and it's just, well, there's more. Here, read them for yourself. The good news is, health-wise, I seem to be doing much better this month. I'm sure this isn't a permanent thing, it's happened before. I can't really remember how the doctor from the past explained it anymore, but he said it was pretty normal and not something to get my hopes about. Still, some days this month, I actually had enough energy to want to move around. Not that I could move around, of course, I can't leave the house. A good girl shouldn't, is what everyone keeps saying, but I have the energy to at least, and that's something. The big news is that the woman who's supposed to be my adopted mother came back. I didn't really see her much before she left. I might as well have been meeting a new person. I wish I could say I had high hopes for her, that I had thought that maybe she'd be fine. That'd be a lie, though. I knew she'd be as bad as the rest the moment I saw her. And she was, of course she was. She's even worse than her sister-in-law. She gives these awful lectures. I can't even describe them. They're that horrible. She's that horrible. Okay. If you're so worried, why don't you just explain everything to her, simply and rationally, Jung-soo asked me. My response was obvious. She's a woman. We're not particularly rational. Oh my god. He said, you know what I mean, I can hardly do it, but coming from a woman, perhaps she will understand it, that it's all for her own good. Oh yeah, it's all for your own good because you're an irrational creature. Maybe, I said, doubting it. But I tried anyway. She took her time arriving after I summoned her to my room. Can we speak? I asked her, trying to keep my voice calm. She glared, then snapped. Fine. I asked her to sit down, but she refused. Look, I said, trying to speak to her as an equal. I still didn't think my husband was right, but it was worth trying. I had been told that she'd rather be called Hyun-ae. Is that right? She said yes, bitterly, not giving me much to go off of. It's a very pretty name, I said. Thanks, she said, but her voice was still unfriendly. My parents gave it to me. I said, you must miss them very much, she nodded. I don't understand, Hyun-ae. Were you so difficult with them too? No, she said, they were nice. They actually cared about me. They're nothing like you people. I sighed. I care about you, Hyun-ae. You're a part of the family. You're a Kim. Your parents are our ancestors, and I know they'd think it's very important that we raise you right. If you want to be a bad, unfilial daughter and treat us without respect, well, you wouldn't be the first. Do you think an old woman like me really cares that much about your opinion on me? I thought maybe I'd try appealing to her selfishness. Her marriage is important to the family, but clearly she doesn't care about filiality. Because you see her as an object, and that's apparently you're okay with that because that's how you've been raised. It's you, you've been conditioned. It's you that I'm worried about. Do you think any husband is really going to put up with you the way you are for even a second? She kept glaring at me. That's all you keep talking about. Marriage, marriage, marriage. I'm 14. I'm 14 years old. What's wrong with you? Why does everything have to be about some man? Why do I have to marry somebody that you pick? She screamed at me. I remained calm. You're going to be a royal concubine, Hyun-ae. We're not dumping you off on just anyone. There's no better man. I don't know if you were already engaged in the past, but your parents would do the same if they could. It's what's best for you. They would want this. No, they wouldn't, she shrieked. They wanted me to grow up. They wanted me to be an independent woman. That's what mom and dad thought was important. I don't want to be a concubine. I don't care about marriage. An independent woman? They wanted you to be a whore? I asked. My patience ran as thin as anyone's would be. I didn't believe for a second my husband's ancestors were the monsters she was making that to be, and was sick of this. Get out, I snapped at her. Just get out. Yeah, that sums it up. Are you just showing me that because you want to see more from her? I don't know what the right answer here is anymore. Fuck. What? I didn't even expect this to be the fucking... I assume she... Never mind. I don't really want to, but I mean... What happened? Okay, what happened when I said that's not why? What happened? I'm curious. Yeah, I didn't think so. I don't know what to say. She was cruel. So cruel. She was backwards. And raised to think that that way of life was correct and that there wasn't any other way of life. Basically raised to not think for herself. And then, from her perspective, it doesn't change anything. Fine, she actually believed that she was what she was saying. That doesn't make all of it right. I mean, you can convince her to believe whatever the hell you want to believe. It doesn't make it right. I hate her. I don't care if she's long dead. I don't care if I was the one who did it. I still hate her. I hate her. I hate her. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Ah, jeez, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to work myself up like that. It's just, you don't pity her, do you? I do. A little, kind of, actually. It'd be heartless not to. I mean... When you're brought up in a specific setting, it can be difficult to shake that. Sometimes even impossible if you don't really... It's not easy for societies to change. A lot of people just go with the flow. They don't want to... Especially because there are usually risks to trying to upset how things work. So, yeah, I do pity her a little bit, but that's just... It's not entirely her fault. Maybe she could have, well... Maybe she could have been a little kinder with how she was expressing her ideals, but... Again, just the way that... That's what she was taught the world was like. What? Don't pity her, pity me. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe she was like me once. Maybe she wasn't always terrible. Maybe she did just get worn down like I did. But if that excuses what she did to me, it doesn't. I don't think it does. I think she had a choice. But if it does, then surely what I did was just forgivable. Can you forgive her for what she did to me? Then you have to forgive me for what I did to them. At least the people I wanted to hurt weren't innocent. At least there's that. Her excuse. What did I ever do to deserve such cruelty? Even if she did believe everything she said, I can't forgive her. I can't pity her. I still hate her. Okay, it's still lit up. So does that mean that I can ask for more then? Is that what that is? There was one big fight I had with her. The one that changed everything. The one I finally lost. My diary makes it sound really dramatic, I know. I was young at the time, but it really was. Just read it. It's exactly how it went. Okay, actually I'm going to end the episode here. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.